What's up, everybody? So hey, I was sitting here thinking about this just last video that I did with Ed, and I'd sent him and Eddie Dennis the invite to do this thing. The video was my idea, and they finally accepted, but they wanted me to record it on their end so where they'd have editorial control, and I filmed it also. I have got a phone call that I'd spoken with Ed on a previous occasion, but really when I started this channel it was just to find out what Ed's last name is. And since doing a lot of these videos, a lot of people are calling my credibility into question. So being that Ed is the established international cartel expert that so many people find him to be, and me starting my channel wanting to know what his last name was, there's a couple things going on. One, I've finally gotten to talk to Ed, which is one of the first goals that I set out to do on my channel. I've got almost 500 subscribers now. I've been on several major podcasts. I have verified on each one of these podcasts that I am who I am, and I've now verified I am who I am with Ed Calderon too, with himself admitting that my case is exceptionally rare. And so there's no contesting the fact of whether or not I was in Mexico doing exactly what I said I was doing, because I was. And I'm going to have to apologize ahead of time for the audio quality. I was recording it from my cell phone, and I was looking for the opportunity to have the opportunity to speak with Ed. I've achieved that goal 11 months into this. So I'm going to upload it, and you guys can listen to it. If you like the audio, cool. If you don't like the audio, my apologies ahead of time or in advance. I've been looking at the way that Sean Ryan's guests have a synopsis or a bio given to them by Sean when they go on to Sean Ryan's show, and I'm not impressed with my life yet. I've done some extraordinary things, but I want to become a lawyer, and so I'm going to take a lot more time focusing on school instead of just shooting content. We'll see where my channel goes in a year, but you know, I just think that it's extraordinary that I can be this open and have people that are associated or have been associated with motorcycle clubs doing videos about me. I got my hate video yesterday by this clown yesterday in St. Paul, Minnesota, and I am calling him a clown straight up. But I started out with a certain goal, and I've achieved that goal as far as establishing myself with a guy that has been speaking to our congressman and stuff like that. And so I'm going to leave that where it's at. I'm going to work on my school. I'm going to work on seeing where my channel goes and work on my book, which has always been my intent. I think that it's odd that me being able to put my name out there, my whole life out there, my entire story and history out there with very little fear, because I'm a pretty hard target, and I'm not being arrogant saying that. I go and make it my business to work out and take care of or responsibility of myself. That someone that's an international counterterrorism and security expert is so cautious with their last name after having been in the public eye for 8 years, almost a decade, and they still cannot allow their second name or their maternal last name to be known is suspicious to me. You know, I've been suspicious over his accent. I like Ed, but why he's completely failing to let the world know what his last name is it's just something that's so incredibly odd to me. I still struggle with it. I'm going to continue periodically putting up videos of myself and my brothers at work in Mexico. But really, I'm going to focus on school and the law. This channel has never been about making money. And it's not about impressing people with my gangster past or any of that. I've been on Glenn Beck. I've been on Johnny Mitchell. I've been on Camp Gagnon. I've been on Hector Bravo. And I've got more videos coming out And now I've got the Ed Calderon thing. So, hey, I'm going to upload it. If you don't like the video, slap on the captions. Figure it out. The conversation's about 2 hours. Have a great day. Chef's kiss. Hey, Abraham, can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you, yes.
Yeah? Okay, perfect. Yeah, I can see you perfectly. Just want to do a little sound check right now.
Yeah, okay.
Really fast?
Yeah.
Can you move the camera a little bit so you don't have that much air between your head and the... a little bit lower. Can you do that? Can you move it a little bit lower? Because we crop the video, so we need to be like right. You have to be right in the middle there. Can you move it a little bit to your what is it, left? I think. There you go, my man. That's right. That's
cool.
Right. That's good. Can you hear me now? I'm sorry, like this is a lot of technology for me. I'm a fucking idiot about all that shit.
No, you're not an idiot, Ed. Come on, man.
Technology, and it defeats me. This is my main thing. We've recorded like an hour of this without the fucking microphone being on before. So like.
No, I've been there, man. I've been learning a lot over the last year doing videos.
We're still. I'm still learning. I'm not good enough to learn this type of stuff, so I had to hire somebody. This is Abraham. Yeah, here he's been. He's the one that produces all of our digital video podcast content and stuff like that. So
right on.
He's my he's my video prosthesis. You know, he's the one that keeps me. He's the one that keeps me going. How are you, Frank?
I'm doing good, Ed. How you doing?
You know.
Are you in TJ, man?
Yeah.
No way. I thought you were in Houston. I was almost positive.
Back in it's Houston. Right now it's between Houston, LA, and TJ, where we film out of.
Right on.
That's where we're currently in that studio right now.
I'm bummed out because I was living right there in Mission Bend West by Katy. Could have hooked up with you. Yeah.
All right. The physical recordings we all do out here in Baja.
Oh, right on. I used to live in Playas Costa Azul in Playas de Tijuana.
Costa Azul.
Yeah.
Well, look at you.
Yeah, I know. I get around, man. You too. So do you. I haven't met anyone that travels as much as I do, except for maybe you.
Yeah. You lived in Costa Azul. That's like that's not a cheap place.
Yeah, I know.
What was going on that you were living in Costa Azul?
In Costa Azul, when I first went to Mexico, the idea was I was going to jump back and cross the border right there at Otay, and then work in San Diego and just live in Mexico until my wife got her visa.
That is what many people do. That's what a lot of people do right now.
I know.
When was that? What years was that?
Oh, hell, it's been a while now. It was 2018.
Oh, okay. Yeah, your eyes would pop out of your head if you see what they charge for fucking rent.
I had a beachfront apartment for $400 a month, and even that was expensive back then. Now it's probably cheap.
I don't think you're going to find anything less than $1,000 right now. I mean,
that's crazy, man.
It's most of San Diego is living in Baja right now.
I don't blame them, man. I was on Johnny Mitchell the other day, and he asked me what I thought about Mexico. I'm like, I'll die and be buried in Zacatecas, man. I love Zacatecas.
Zacatecas. I haven't been to Zacatecas specifically.
Yeah, I got a home there. My wife and I, we have a home, and it's an agricultural state, obviously, but it's beautiful too. It's home, man. You know what I mean?
there's a state cop that I know out there who used to be a marino.
Yeah.
He goes by Raso. Raso on Instagram. I think, I don't know if you've
I'd have to see his face, man. There's a lot of people, but I was from the state they're on. Hey, I want. First of all, I just want to tell you this: if I've offended you ever, I want to apologize. No, because respect's a big deal in Mexico, and it's a big deal to me, and I know it's a big deal to you too. I respect you. It's just when I hear stuff and people are talking to our politicians, I'm so grateful for the opportunity to have an interview with you and to talk with you. Because of everything that goes into earning that uniform, I take it seriously, and I know that you do too. And so I just wanted to verify earlier when I say stuff and I've been a certain way online, I just like to make sure that the people that are talking about maybe pushing a war against the cartel, that a lot of people in Mexico and the United States could get hurt if we enter something like that haphazardly and not having all the available knowledge up, and making sure that the people that are talking on it aren't grifting and that they're sincere in what they're saying. And that's only been the only place I've ever come from, man.
Okay, yeah. My opinions come from my experience. I have a family in Mexico. I don't support anything. I just give opinions on things.
Right.
That's why I comment on shit. I don't want an invasion. I don't believe that it's going to be as easy as they paint it out. I know that drone strikes don't do shit but make people be better at hiding. I
agree with you.
I fought that war for 12 years in different ways, and I know enough about Mexico and about the way things work down there that boots on the ground invasion with a bunch of young ass Marines trying to go into, the vision that people have is like, hey, we're going to go attack the cartel. So they imagine this forest somewhere with a truck and a bunch of kids with AKs. That was the norm 9 years ago, 8 years ago. Now you're probably going to be, if you're going after the head of the New Generation cartel, you're probably going to go after an armed group of state and federal agents in uniform that are going to be part of that first ring of security for that guy.
I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that at all. One of the things, because I've gotten on you about this before, like I've got a grip of pictures of me up in the back.
I don't want to interrupt you guys, but you don't burn your stories.
No. We're just like, I'm trying to prime the conversation. I just want to, so I really want to do my best, Dave, to like I've seen some of the other interviews. I want to pull out the cool aspects of the story, the details that I think people would be kind of like, I wonder how this happened. Like, how did he get there? Like,
okay,
I know about the suffering as far as the training.
Hey, you know what? Here's what I want to do. Because you, myself, and Gafe 423 are the only 3 tactical operators in Mexico that have come out really publicly with a face. And even though Gafe wears his balaclava a lot, or Pasa Montaña, people know he's Jonathan Campos. You lead the interview, and let's just see where it goes. I'm elated to have the opportunity to talk to you, man, to be honest.
Awesome.
Cool.
Okay.
So when you're ready, guys, you can tell me when you want to begin now?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, so this is going to be a countdown?
There's going to be an hour 40.
Yeah, that's totally cool, man.
And we're going to do a break at the middle so we can piss because,
right on.
And everything. All right.
Okay, so there's going to be
before we start, is there anything specific you want to promote that is coming up?
No, not right now, not really.
Cool. But just like have a set list in your mind of what you want people to, or where do you want people to check you out? Where do you want people to find you?
Just on my channel on Fusil Automático Ligero.
Okay.
That was my first girlfriend when I got in the state, man.
Okay, so we're going to start, okay?
Yeah.
There's going to be a timer, right. And when it's over, you're going to start.
Cool. Right.
3, 2. I am here with my friend Dave Frank. A when I first kind of caught wind of your story and what you did, and where you did it, I was dumbfounded by it. It's an incredible story, and you've been kind of making the rounds right now online, going around and talking a little bit about that story. You and me come from the same jungle or place where we had our experiences, and I kind of wanted to have you on and not only like have you share some of that story with our audience, but also like I have some questions about your experience. It's a wild one, and I'm pretty excited to share with my audience. But first, like for people that don't know some of the details about who you are, can you tell us a little bit about number one? Just a quick introduction.
Okay.
And like where you're from and how you got started in all this.
I'm from LA. Hey Ed, first of all, thank you for hosting me on your channel, man. I'm a longtime fan. I've been aware of you since 2016 when we were still at work in Mexico. Huge respect for your uniform, for my uniform, and for all of our brothers and sisters, alive and dead. Primeramente. But I'm from LA. Yeah. I'm from LA, and so LA, as you know, is a largely Hispanic city. And I went to school with a bunch of Latinos growing up. I started learning Spanish by reading La Opinión, which is a Spanish-speaking newspaper there. Yeah. And I lived right next to a Spanish project barrio. There was a girl there that I had a crush on that I used to accompany her home, Maria Flores. I don't ever know what happened to her, but that was kind of my introduction to that Spanish barrio. The first time I ever actually had the courage to go in there because it was kind of a sketchy place. But I grew up, in LA in the San Fernando Valley, and long story short, my dad had a factory making a lot of airport runway lights. And I got into manufacturing engineering and wound up in Mexico as a result of that. Had a very troubled childhood with gangs, and didn't have a. What's your question?
How old were you when you ended up in Mexico?
When I ended up in Mexico, that was in 2010. I was 40 years old, exactly 40 years old.
But there's a lot of going on before that. Like you speak about gang issues and trouble. Like
there's gang issues. There's Russia. There's a bunch of stuff there. But when I wound up in Mexico, I was 39, 40 years old. And so, anyways, winding up in Mexico, I had been in Russia looking at trying to find a way to fight Al Qaeda. There's some legal stuff going on there with everything going on with Ukraine and Russia and the United States right now, so I'm just going to kind of leave that one alone.
Okay.
But
can I ask like mercenary work, or is that what we're talking about?
Oh, I was over there looking at trying to become law enforcement.
Okay.
Going down that route, because that's a legal thing that you can do in any country. It's just a job, which is also, ironically, what I wound up doing in Mexico. Yo fui agente de la Estatal de la Secretaría de Seguridad Pública. I was an agent for the Secretary of Public Security for a general, and as you know, but just getting into it, as a result of that, we were opening up a factory. I had a job managing a factory for Triumph, and Triumph is a third-tier supplier to Boeing. And they were opening up a factory in Mexico, and in Zacatecas, it's a very agricultural state, and there was no machining industry there to speak of. Airbus and Boeing are the primary customers that we were serving, and so a lot of the work instructions, due to ITAR agreements and due to the fact that Airbus is a French country and Boeing company, and Boeing is an American company, a lot of the work instructions needed to be converted either from French and English, all of it into Spanish, on a level that someone that doesn't even have a secondary or a junior high school education could understand and make a flight critical part. And I did not want to send my workers jobs down to Mexico. I was manufacturing supervisor at the time, and a lot of my guys were actually of Mexican descent in the States, so it wasn't anything racist or anything like that, because I've been very candid about my upbringing, so I want to make it clear that that was not at all why I didn't want to send the jobs to Mexico. They just weren't my guys. And as a result, I told executive management I was not on board with this project and kind of shot myself in the foot in a very good career at an international company. And it was weird the way everything coalesced. My ex had went back to Russia for a visit with her mom and had left my daughter in Russia, to where she remains to this day. And I had written the PGR, the Procuraduría General de la República, interested in going and hunting drug cartels because they'd given me drugs indirectly when I was a child.
Can I ask, like?
Yeah.
Like I can't imagine what this letter said. Like how does one, as an American, and how do you word this to the PGR without getting a knock on your door or a visit from them? I mean, how are you asking for that?
That's funny. You know, I told them that because I do martial arts. In fact, one of the way that I first became aware of you was through martial arts and the Dog Brothers in a knife seminar in San Diego. But the way that I worded it is I knew that sooner or later, the first team that went to Mexico, they failed. And I knew that sooner or later I would be going down there, and I didn't want to work at that company anymore because I'd shot myself in the foot. My ex had left my daughter in Russia. And I'm like, I'm just going to go hunt drug cartels because I'm just going to do it. And I know that it sounds crazy. I was just on Glenn Beck, and he was telling me about how crazy that is. But I'd worded the letter to the PGR. I told him more or less, okay, I apologize for bothering you, but I am adept in el manejo de armas. Like, I know how to operate all these weapons. I'm very good at martial arts. I speak English, Spanish, and Russian fluently and read and write them. And I would like to come to work for you, working against the cartels. And they didn't answer me at all. And actually going to law school in Mexico, getting to know the differences between La Marina, El Ejército, Estatal, Federal, Preventiva, Estatal Ministerial, all the different types of bodies that exist in Mexico. When I wrote that letter initially, I didn't understand that I was writing it primarily to a bunch of lawyers. I had no idea. I was just firing off a letter. And for those of our audience that don't know, the Procuraduría General de la República is basically a bunch of lawyers that have been granted authority as officers that are investigative police. And so I shot this letter off not knowing anything about anybody. And they actually wrote me back like 6 months later, and they told me, Señor Frank, lamento que decirle que en este momento no puedes trabajar para nosotros. And just to translate for our viewers that don't speak Spanish, it's Mr. Frank, we're sorry to inform you that in this moment you can't work for us. And I thought that was great news. I don't know what transpired on their end to where they even responded to that email, but that was very much the email that I sent. They sent it back to me, and I took that as like very positive news. I'm like, yeah. Because they're not telling me no, they're just telling me not right now. No en este momento. Okay. So when the first team went down to that factory and failed, I wound up, they came back to me and asked me, because I've got a very amplia, una experiencia, yo soy muy experimentado. I'm very experienced in producing parts from start to finish because of my dad and his factory. That when the first team went down there and predictably they failed, it was a problem child from a lot of different sites in the United States where they sent all their problematic parts down to Mexico just to basically get them off their plate. There were a lot of challenges. And the workforce is completely new. So they sent me down there and I agreed to go because I had just gotten that email. My ex had just gotten back from Russia without my daughter. And I just made up my mind that I was going to go down there and do that. And you talk about it all the time, like when you get there and they're telling you that tenemos nada más pan y verga y acabamos con el pan hace 2 días. And so you get there, and this is before I even entered the Estatal. you get there, and I was already in that frame of mind, like nothing's going to make me fail. I'm not going to quit. I'm here forever. I told my company that when you send me here, train my replacement because I'm not coming back. And I wound up quitting March of 2012. And May 1st of 2012, I was at the state in my white t-shirt, blue jeans, y mi cachucha, of the Estatal, doing basic training.
Yeah, when you're part of the intake of recruits,
right?
There's no uniform. There's like, hey, jeans.
Yeah, they told me jeans, a white t-shirt, a white sweatshirt, and a hat and boots. Yeah, that's what we had.
And it's like they're not giving you shit. Like,
no, they don't give you anything. I think a lot of people in the United States don't realize that in Mexico, a lot of times being a state agent or police or even from the ejército, a lot of people view that in una manera despectiva in Mexico. Like, it's not like really respected the way that it is in the United States. And so, yeah, when you're going through intake, they're not giving me anything. And
when you're there in intake and you have your uniform, they're asking you to go. Are they asking you to? You don't know anybody. You're just there at intake. Is that
yeah, you know what happened was while I was still working at the factory, I went down. So that's what happened is they sent me down there and I'm working at this factory and I'm getting everything taken care of at the factory. And as it happens in Zacatecas, the PGR, the Procuraduría, or like the Department of Justice for the people that don't speak Spanish, is like about, I want to say probably 5 kilometers south of where the airport is, which is where our factory was. And so every day when everyone else is going back to the center of town, I'm taking a taxi over to the Procuraduría and I'm knocking on their door. And then I'm also knocking on the door of the Federal de Caminos, which is like Mexican Federal Highway Patrol. I'm knocking on all these doors. Well, they don't even have them now. They got rid of them since the Guardia Nacional. But
they're gone.
Yeah, they're gone. I was knocking on all these doors and no one wanted anything to do with me, including the Procuraduría. So I kept knocking on doors and luego, or sooner or later, I wound up knocking on the state police preventiva's doors.
You're offering training, you're offering your experience,
I'm looking for a job. I'm looking for any in that I can, and that's actually how I got in. There was a guy that wound up working for the Zeta cartel that I worked with by the name of John Caso. Oh. Yeah, it was sketchy. That was right at the end of where I got there, but he also entered in Rio Grande, Zacatecas as an instructor. He was Colombian Special Forces. He had come to Mexico, didn't want to go back to Colombia for whatever reason, and wound up being an instructor. And that's actually how I got in. I filled out my acuse. And so acuse, for those that don't know, is like an introductory letter of what you're going to be doing for that corporation that you're working for. And I got that. And it was an instructor especializado. So a specialized instructor in hand-to-hand combat. That's exactly how I got into the state.
That's your foot in the door for intake.
100%, yes, correct.
So like you show up to intake with this like, hey, this is my purpose right now, and the foot in the door is that I know how to fight. I'm good at it. And my general too. My general, the first thing that he asked me when I went there, because I went there and knocked on the door, and I'm all in a suit, a corbata, everything. And they blow me off and they tell me the next day, you can come back tomorrow at 9 o'clock. And you know how powerful generals are in Mexico. They can do whatever they want and you're doing, everything's on their schedule. So I come back the next day at 9 o'clock. They let me go up to the hill because our base is kind of on a hill. They let me in the base. I go up the hill. I'm sitting there waiting. He calls me into the conference room finally after like an hour of waiting. And he tells me, I'm never going to forget it. He tells me, oye, gringo, ¿qué chingas quieres aquí? Like, hey, gringo, what the fuck do you want? Yeah,
sorry for cussing.
What are you doing here?
Exactly, because, it just doesn't happen, man. And I told him, I'm like, I work over at the factory. He's like, yeah, I know, because they had looked me up the day previously. And I was manager of machining and engineering operations at this factory, so I wasn't, like you've talked about it, like they'll come over to your house to see what you own. They'll check up on you. I was coming from a very high-paying job, coming from out of the country, so I didn't have any Mexican connections, so I wasn't there for the money. I wasn't there because I was in bed with the cartel. And they're like, I was viewed with a lot of suspicion.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, you're a complete anomaly.
Totally, man. So he told me, he's like, I want a demonstration of your fighting ability. I'm like, okay. And so I was getting ready to take off my suit to go fight like 3 of his guys. I didn't know who it was going to be. The only thing that I knew, Ed, is that my daughter was in Russia. My ex was in the United States and remains in the United States to this day. So she didn't even want to be mother to our daughter. I have all this going on with work, and there's just no way I'm going to fail this interview when I go in there. So I didn't care who he put in front of me. I was gonna clean the floor with him because I had nothing, man.
And for people that kind of don't know this, if you're an officer in the army in Mexico, you specifically a general or any officer of that nature, sometimes you get your pick as far as what work you do. Outside of being in the army, you get named head of the police, head of the state police.
That's exactly what it was. My general was a general de brigada. And so those that don't know, in Mexico, every single preventive police, so in Mexico, you got investigative police and preventive police, and all the preventative police almost unilaterally are headed up by Mexican generals in Mexico. It's a very common practice, and that was absolutely what was going on with where I was at. And they all go to Colegio Heroico Militar in Mexico. They've got their fraternity. So, I mean, they're like all very...
Yeah, at the beginning of this drug war, basically, what happened is that one thing people realize is, specifically people in charge, that people coming out of the civilian market, as far as officers or people being in charge, were corrupt as fuck because it came with interest. So,
100%. I mean, you talked about it yourself with the pruebas de confianza. I even went there and I tripped balls, man. They had all the normal Mexican people that were recruits that were going into the state, but then they had one group of us that were called Secretaria, and everyone in that group was ex-military, and myself. And what I saw was all of us went to work directly for my general doing whatever he wanted because we all had problems passing pruebas de confianza for one reason or another. I don't know what the reasons were with my brother's cases, but with mine, obviously, because I was born a gringo. And this is before AMLO changed the Constitution. Because someone's asked me that the other day. They're like, how is it even possible that you were there working as an agente de la Estatal, or as a state agent?
It is possible, and I've seen foreign nationals do this, but you have to have an in at a high level.
100%. All my documents are signed off by Sedena, by Secretaría de Defensa Nacional, and I didn't get to pick up a weapon in Mexico for a long time, man. I was there. It sucked. When I entered there, after I got out of training, I was giving like...
Hold on. Like with the training aspect of it, that's a pretty interesting thing to go into. I want to talk about what that was like because, I mean... I'm a native speaker and I'm Mexican and I went through a training and it sucked balls for me. You know, I can't imagine any sign or any form of individuality in a fucking wolf pit like these fucking academies are. I don't know about where you went, but I went to one, and most of the people that were instructors for us were all GAFE people.
The same with me. The only ones that weren't GAFE for us is, I don't know what it was like up in TJ or in Baja California. I think you guys are training out by Mexicali. I don't know where your guys' actual training is. Our training's right there in Zacatecas. Actually, it's right by Tierra de Libertad. But our training, everyone was GAFE except for the people that were doing the legal training, like our Mando Unico, all of this type of training that we take. That's all lawyer type people that have licenciadas, people with bachelor's degrees. were doing that. Everybody else that was doing physics, right? The classroom side of it were all people with degrees. The ass kicking side of it, or the physical side of it, was all GAFE. Every single one of them.
What were you hearing from these people when they would see you in formation? I mean,
they tripped out, man. I remember I had one Capitan. I'm gonna leave his name out of it, but it's Capitan Philippe. I'm gonna leave both his last names out of it. But he told me, they would ask me what the hell I was doing there, and we're sitting there writing down how many kilograms of fall is, what its effective range is, Fabricación Belgica, and I'm laughing. Hey, Ed. You know, I got them too. I got another one over here. We got our little libretas, and we would have them. We're sitting there writing all this stuff down. And they're sitting there. They're like, what the fuck are you doing here, man? And I told them, I'm like, you know, my ex left my daughter in Russia. I was manager of this factory. I'm not going back to the United States. I love living here in Mexico, and I'm here. And I told them, I'm like, you can bury me in the desert. You can break my bones, but you will not get me to quit. And I fucking meant it. I was totally serious.
Are they being antagonistical against you? Are they?
Yes and no. Some are. A lot of people told me that I was more Mexican than even Mexicans because I wanted to be there, whereas other people, because I could have ran back to the States and got another job, whereas other people, that's like their last stop on the block and they want to get a job there. So I got both.
Being a cop in Mexico is not being a cop in Mexico is not the first choice for me. You
know? No, exactly. It's dangerous. A lot of people.
The time where you were joining up, that was like not the safest.
They just had. In fact, I didn't go to Mexico for a long time, even though they wanted me to go to Mexico, because they had just shot up the municipal police for like 2 hours, man. The entire police station. And so I told Human Resources, like, no, I'm afraid of the cartel, which was total bullshit. I was not, but I didn't want to go to Mexico to play ball with my company, and then later on I wound up going. When I got there, like I said, I joined in May 1st of 2012. And so a lot of my instructors are GAFEs, and GAFEs, for those of you that haven't met them, are Mexican Special Forces. They call them something else nowadays. I don't know what it is now, but just believe me, si la muerte nos encuentra, bienvenida sea, todo por Mexico. So if the death finds us, let it be welcome. Everything from Mexico. They are just complete hardcore Mexican Special Forces that will do anything, physically or otherwise, to complete whatever mission Mexico needs completed. And I was grateful to have those trainers because I learned a lot from them. Like, we were doing Australian rappelling. I have a video of it up on my YouTube channel. And whoever ties the knot on the top of that thing, when you're Australian rappelling, you're going down head first. And if that knot fails, it's going to kill you. And it should kill you. Exactly. It should kill you because you're the one that tied the knot. And so everything is very unforgiving. And we are running and running and running. They're running us through bushes of cactus and stuff like that, so we get the splinters in our legs. Just everything they can do to make sure that they get rid of the people that shouldn't be there. And I was grateful for it because you learn a lot in that process.
The vision that people have sometimes of the training that they I mean, from American eyes and perspectives, you know, you imagine, like, I don't know, Full Metal Jacket, or you imagine this military boot camp style thing. These people are there to break you. And when I say break you, I mean make the doors open, fucking leave. And they celebrate when one of you breaks.
Yeah, no, they're definitely trying to get rid of you, man, without a doubt. Because, I mean, let's be honest, you know, it's Americans don't get it. This is one of the reasons why I opened my channel. I do not want a war with Mexico and the cartel. I want to see economic opportunity flowing to Mexico. I want to see scholastic opportunity flowing to Mexico in terms of becas and scholarships. I want to see the Mexican population that I've come to love deeply flourish, because in flourishing, both countries benefit from that. I don't want to see a war where people are getting jacked up. And if you're working in Mexico, it's just a matter of time until you're going to get in shit. You were talking about your partner having his ID screwed to his head. And I've had stuff like that happen too, where they've captured a couple of us. They didn't behead them, but they shot them and they left them there, and they did it on video. So you got this type of stuff going on. Yeah, they're trying to break you to make sure that you're going to be able to handle that, because it's not police work like it is in the United States. You are in a low-intensity conflict that is a Mexican drug war with belligerents on both sides. There's us on the government side, and then there's the cartels, all of them.
Are you? I mean, it's paramilitary training. I mean, that's
100%. Yeah, I was a GAPE, Grupo Aeromóvil Táctica de la Policía Estatal. I was on Mexican SWAT, and
so you go through this training. They try and break you. They probably get a lot of weird looks because, like, what's this guy doing here? How long is this process for people that don't know?
About 6 months plus 1 month of extra training down in Hamai at the military base.
And this is all week.
It's every single day of the week, man. I'm not going home.
It's an internment space. So you have your. Are you on a cot? Are you on a?
Yeah, no. We had to sleep up. We have the psych unit behind the normal base building, and so because we were just recruits, we didn't even have a right to a room. We had to sleep on the hallway floor, and we were lucky if we got a mattress. It's exactly the way it was. And we would be up doing guard duty at night, but we wouldn't even have weapons, so you can't even sleep all night. I mean, they were just on you.
Like fire watch. Man.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Because you don't even get to sleep. And so my turn, our nuestras jornadas de trabajo, our hours were 43 hours straight with 5 hours off, 365 days a year when we were working for my general. And my wife, who I've been with for 13 years. I've been with her this whole time. She almost left me, and I treat her like gold, dude, because I was never home. And that didn't even start when I got my real job. They were treating us like that while we were recruits too. I mean, they're on you.
For people that don't what's the food? What's the food like in there?
You know what? The food wasn't good. In fact, I'm glad that you asked that, because that was really a turning moment for me.
How?
I'm going to tell you how, because ellos estuvieron dándonos carne de lomo de cerdo. They were giving us pig meat.
Pork loin.
Yeah.
Yeah, pork loin, yeah.
But it was rotten. And I had a big chunk of it. And I remember sitting there con mi pelotón, with my platoon, and I was going to spit it out, Ed. I was going to spit it out. This is when I became Mexican. There's a few moments in my life when I became Mexican. I mean, really became Mexican. One was losing my passport, but another one was when they had us eating that food, and it was beans with this rotten pork loin, and I was going to spit it out. Literally spit it out. And then I did, and I sat there, and I ate it, because there was no way I was going to let my brothers eat that shit alone. And I mean,
you can't stick out. You can't be an individual.
No.
As soon as you do, you're gone.
Well, also, but yeah, just not only that, but I mean, they're my brothers, man. And it's really one of the hardest things that Americans don't get about working in Mexico is some of your brothers are working for the other side, but some of them aren't. And some of them are in there just as much danger as you are, and they are committed to doing the right thing, trying to make Mexico a better place. And I'll never forget the stress of living with all of that. I've had my brothers in my house for fiestas sometimes, and you don't know if someone were going to call somebody up and kill you or hurt you or something like that.
Are you getting any sort of sense of suspicion with the people you're with? I mean, you have a
yeah, totally, man. So one of the things that would go on while we were training is they would bring in municipal police from other places, because this is a state base. So they would train the municipal police from Villanueva and other places. And there was one chick that was a municipal cop in Villanueva. She was flirting with me and stuff like that because I'm a gringo and I've got access to the other side. It's not because I'm a great guy. There was that.
Green card.
Right, exactly. But there was also... And to be clear, my wife never wanted to come to this country. She was pissed off when I did. So I want to make that clear because she might see that. My wife has 2 master's degrees in Mexico. She's done very well for herself. But the people that they were training, or that we were training, I was even training some of these guys hand-to-hand combat, Payete 24, or like your police baton stuff, just simple stuff. But you'd see some of them, they were working with the Malandros and everything, or the bad guys. Yeah, you definitely see it.
Yeah, you're. I mean, are you trusted by them? When you're in a place like that, you're suffering together, and it's like fucking being a part of a gang.
No, I was not trusted, Ed. I wasn't trusted yet. They didn't start trusting me. My sombra. So they pair you up with someone. My sombra's name was Iguana, and he was kind of like a Comechangos, like he was from Tabasco.
Hold on, before you go any further. That is I've never heard somebody from the U.S. say that word, which is like it's very offensive.
Oh, it's super offensive. Yeah, for those that don't get it. So the people in southern Mexico, they don't enunciate their S's. So when you would say something like buscalos, like look for them, they say bucalo. They talk like Cubans kind of. But they also eat monkeys in the south of Mexico.
It's like a derogatory term to tell somebody, hey, like you're from the southern Mexico? Yeah, you call me Chango, you're a monkey eater.
Yeah, no, totally, man. But
funny. I'm sorry, man. I just had to point that out. It's pretty funny.
No, that's okay. But I loved Iguana, man, and they ultimately murdered him, man. And they said it was an accident cleaning his weapon. It wasn't. But way before that ever happened, he and no one was in better shape than us two, because I would screw up so often. When we were learning Orden Cerrado, like when you're saluting, and the outside fila has to keep looking forward, but the inside ones are saluting to the right.
Yeah.
14 pasos, 14 pasos, a desplante al 14avo paso. And so I'm learning all this stuff. And so during drill practice and stuff like that, Iguana and I are constantly running, constantly doing push-ups. We did like 1,000 push-ups a day, easy, every day because of my fault. And this guy stuck with me forever, even though I continually fucked everything up because my Spanish wasn't what it is now either. Like, por ejemplo, si yo quiero hablar con usted ahora, yo puedo hablar con usted ni siquiera pensando en inglés y luego traduciéndolo en español. Like if I want to speak to you in Spanish right now, I can speak to you in Spanish, thinking in Spanish. But when I first got there, that wasn't the way it was. So when they're yelling orders at us, I have to sit there and translate that shit in my head. So I'm continually late.
You're late, yeah. You're just late to the draw.
Yeah, so like 3 movements and like por medio, vuelta. So there's 3 movements in that, right? And so I would completely screw all of this up. And Iguana was going through all of that with me. And they would I smoked at the time, so when we had to smoke, or when we had to run, they would make sure I was smoking while I was running. Everything to try to get me to quit, Ed. Everything.
Yeah, for people that don't know this, if you're a cop in Mexico, or if you're in the military, which is in a lot of ways after the drug war was kicked off, basically the police was militarized. Not all of it, but state agencies were the first ones to get this whole paramilitary into their training. There is no way, shape, or form you can go through that training without learning how to fucking march.
Yeah, no, you're going to march constantly, man.
It is every day, early in the morning, you fucking go in formation and march like a fucking idiot for a few hours.
No, here you go. Watch. So when's the last time you've heard it? Por medio, vuelta, ya. Paso redoblado, ya. Paso veloz.
That's PTSD shit right now.
Yeah, no. So yeah, like I know all that shit. In fact, and then after I was there for a while, I started training people, and I'm the one that's the instructor taking these guys out marching and everything like that. Like you were, I saw in one of your things that you were a leader. Like they'll go through and pick. And when it became clear, they'll pick leaders amongst us. When it became, do what?
They'll look for leadership within the groups, and probably 3 months or 4 months into training, like among your group,
right,
few of you will be named leaders.
Yeah, so I would start marching like platoons of people and stuff like that. And when they were raising the bandera in the mañana, Mexicanos por Guerra. And I would have them all stop saluting all of this stuff.
How did it feel? How did it feel saying the Pledge of Allegiance as an American in Mexico? How did that feel?
You know,
Bandera de Mexico.
You
had to feel some sort of way about it.
I was very proud. And I'm proud of it in the aspect that I know there's a lot of stuff going on between both countries right now. I have a home in the United States where I'm at right now, but I have a home in Mexico, and I have people that I love dearly and would die for on both sides of that border. And I'm not property of one government or another. I'm property of a creator. And so when I would sit there and know how loyal I am to people on both sides of that border, Ed, I'm completely... You have an American wife or dead. I don't know what your status is, but my wife is Mexican. And where I was born was in Mexico. Los Angeles was at one point Mexico. So we've got like a long history going back. This is my home. And I have a home in Mexico. So when I was say the Pledge of Allegiance in either place, I feel equally loyal to both groups or both places because it's my home. It's mi hogar. And so I very much took it that way. And that's kind of when they started trusting me a little more too, because yo fui de fibra. I was like, I was very committed to what we were doing. And like you said, there's like a lot of executive protection that you'll wind up doing because a lot of politicians get killed or under threat, heavy threat, for real threat in Mexico.
Can I ask? You're achieving leadership positions inside of the academy. You're now training some of them in drilling, and you're showing them how to fucking kick ass.
Yeah, I was a suboficial operativo. Ese fue mi rango. That was my rank, suboficial operativo. So the American term correlation would be kind of like a sergeant. I'm not like an
How long was the academy for you?
6 months plus 1 month of training in Jamay, Jalisco at the military base.
Okay. So, and throughout all of this process, how are you? I mean, you have are you living off savings?
Yeah.
Are you partaking in the beca that they have?
No, you know what?
Not all of them. Had.
Dude, they jacked me up so hard when I got employed. I've got my paycheck stubs right here, a foot from me, dude. They took forever because I was a foreigner. They took forever to get me on payroll. I didn't get paid for like 4 to 6 months, and so. Yeah, man, it fucking sucked. But because I had a really good job before I went in there, I got severance for my company in the United States. But I pissed a bunch of it away because my wife and I went to Saltillo, we went to Tamaulipas, we went to Veracruz, we went to Hidalgo, Pueblo. We went like on a great big vuelta throughout the Mexican country. Just checking Mexico out, and it was crazy. So I'd like to see like a bunch of this stuff. Like at the time, in 2011, 2012, they had yanked all the Estatal out of Tamaulipas, and so there were only Federal Preventiva y Militares in Tamaulipas because everything was so corrupt.
Yeah, they disarmed a lot of these fuckers.
Yeah, so I got to see firsthand the way stuff went down in a big chunk of the country. And so, but because I was an idiot and blew all my money thinking that I would get paid from the state, I didn't get paid for like 6 months. And so my wife and I spent months eating nothing but spaghetti with little tomato sauce packages or cajitas de salsa jitomate for like months, dude. And then finally...
It makes it taste better.
Yeah, no. So finally I started getting paid. Like,
what's your graduation like?
My graduation? My graduation, I didn't graduate like the other. So remember when I told you there were other groups and then there was those of us that pertained directly to Secretaria? Because I entered as an instructor, I started working 7 days a week training recruits. And my graduation was going through GOTPE training, Grupo Aeromobile Táctica de la Policía Estatal. My graduation ceremony was only our platoon of GAPE down at Campo de Tiro, down at the firing range, underneath some mesquite trees, eating tacos de buche, so like deep fried pig stomach and carnitas.
Yeah, that's some good shit right there.
So I didn't get like it was great, man. I love tacos de buche. In fact, I took the whole box. Some people got some, but I had like half a kilo of tacos de buche to myself. We're very aggressive, and they're my brothers, but this is my tacos de buche, and I'm eating it. And that was my graduation, and I was very proud. It wasn't like a great big thing like with my wife there. I didn't have any family there, but it was with my brothers. And by brothers... Yeah, go ahead.
What did they give you? Like
my uniform.
So when you graduate, depending on where you're going, you get, and depending on where you are, because some people, like I was talking to a friend that went through the same type of academy, but in Coahuila.
Yeah.
And they were like fucking. I mean, you know, I would bitch about the mattresses and the barracks that I was in. They were in the fucking field.
Yeah, no, Coahuila's got a great force. They did that to us all the time. We take the trucks and go out in the fucking. In Zacatecas, there's like jungla or selva in the southern part of the state, but up in the northern part of the state, depending on where you're at, it's straight up savanna or desert.
Yeah, it goes into a. I mean, that's where peyote, like that's the capital of peyote.
Yeah, no, there's a whole bunch of huicholes there that are doing peyote and all this. Yeah, a whole bunch of them. In fact, it's a trip talking to huicholes too, because their Spanish is messed up. They've got their own like Nahuatl language, and trying to communicate with them sometimes. They don't even speak Spanish, some of them. I've run into that, dude.
You get a uniform. Like, what equipment do you get? Like, what do you have to get your own equipment? Like,
you know, it's funny that you ask that, because I've got like a little list of questions of like what you think about los pollitos de colores. I've got a whole list of questions right here, and one of the things is talking about having to buy your own bullets, or people buying their own bullets for extra practice.
For me, it was one, all the bullets were marked, so you can fucking pocket bullets.
Right.
And there's fucking guys counting them fucking bullets.
Yes, they are.
For training, you would get, the first gun I shot at the academy was a Beretta 92 FS pistol.
Yeah.
So a 15-round magazine, we would get 10 rounds per magazine, and I shot three magazines out of that pistol, and I was ready to fucking go fight the cartels.
We got love because we worked for our general. We got liberal amounts of ammunition to go train and stuff like that because it's our general's bacon. So we got love that way. But there were people and instances where I've seen where people would have to go out of their way and buy their own cartuchos to get extra training. Yeah, because they're not giving you a lot of stuff, and so
or a field procurement. You know, you go somewhere.
Yeah.
And you find these barrels of rounds and...
Yeah, there's a lot of that. You know, I saw one time someone was selling a grenade. Yeah. For 500 pesos, man. That's all they wanted for it was for 500 pesos.
Man, I mean, it's probably a good anti-abduction device, you know?
Yeah.
I've met a few people that carried them.
Yeah, you see some shit, dude.
So again, the equipment. This is like I want to get people's like heads around this.
So when I graduated,
I don't think people know just how not a lot of equipment. Like you have to fucking make do with shit. So
you gotta find a. You know what? That's because people ask me all the time, like, what's it like working in Mexico? I have a lot of gringo friends that want to know what it's like. And our general, we were so loyal and committed, and I'm still loyal to my general to this day. I would take a bullet for that man in a fucking heartbeat. And I don't even give a shit who hears that because I totally fucking mean it. That general gave me the ability to live in Mexico. He gave me the ability to be with my wife. He gave me the ability to go to law school. He gave me fucking everything. And he didn't have to give me shit. And if I had to die or whatever protecting that man, I fucking would in a heartbeat. And every one of my brothers would too. But if he gave us an order, for example, to go find him an ice cold Coca-Cola in the middle of the fucking desert, we would find a way. If we had to dig a hole 15 feet.
Did they ever tell you this? Soluciones no problemas?
Yeah,
Solutions
exactly.
no
Yeah, they told us that all the time. They told us soluciones no problemas. They told us, te vas a quedar en segundo lugar nada más una sola vez, so you're going to be in second place just once. Because the first time you come in second place, you're dead. They would tell us that shit. But they also told us that there's no way that the cartel is going to win unless you're just a fucking idiot sleeping in your fucking patrol. Because you're training and everything. We would find a way to get the equipment that we needed to train, no matter what. And one of the things, there's a lot of things that Mexico does suffer, but the ingenuity of the Mexican people is something.
We'll find a way.
100%. You give a Mexican a cooler, a folding chair, and a plastic bag, and they'll open a business on the sidewalk. I love that about Mexico, man.
What's your first day on the job like? You go through this training. You gain the trust of your brothers. You're part of the specialized unit. Which is a rare thing. I had that for a while, not for most of my career, but just for a while. I had my version of your general that I trusted and I would go to war for, and still would for him. But he wasn't around for all my career.
My first day on the job was a balacera down in Jerez. And like you said, like we work in bombs, bases de operaciones mixtas, so we're doing a lot of that shit. And at the time,
you're working with the army.
Yeah.
You're working with basically a boom group or a base de operaciones mixtas is in the past. They still do it in Mexico, but in the past, the municipal police will be like, "Well, that's a federal crime. We're not going to do shit."
Right.
And the army would say, "Well, that's a municipal crime. We're not going to do shit." So a way for the government to get everybody on the fucking same page is all you fuckers are going to make a group.
Right.
And you're going to go anything that fucking gets called out, high impact, firefights, armed people,
any of it.
That are going to go.
Yeah, no, we're going there. Plus, my general started at Soldado Raza. So my general started all the way at the bottom, and he made it all the way up to General de Brigada. And for those that don't know, Mexico's only got it's the equivalent of a 3-star general, unless it's the Secretary of National Defense, which is 4 stars or 4 eagles. So my general's almost a 3-bird eagle, so he's got a lot of power, and he's very committed to work. So we were always working. And because Zaka... What's that?
You're going to this firefighter on your first day.
Not my first day, no. I'm at base guarding him and stuff like that. But yeah, they'll have their little security reunions, or we'll get a call or something like that, and we're getting in the truck, and we're hauling ass to Jerez, Zacatecas.
What's your equipment? What do you have on?
Oh, my equipment to begin. Yeah, I've got body armor and all that shit.
It's the armor, quality wise.
No, it was great. Because I was working for my general, our whole platoon was kitted up really good. We had everything that we needed. Not everybody did all the time, but my general was all about the business, and he made sure. We went down to El Defa to the Zona Industria Militar in Mexico City, and we're picking up armored trucks. We're picking up 60 million pesos worth of weapons and stuff and driving it back up. He was very much about making sure that we had all the stuff that we needed.
How are you guys kitted out? Are you going?
So we had Israeli plates, we had Israeli bulletproof vests, Israeli plates are our plate carriers, ceramic plates. I mean, we had everything. A lot of us are using Galil, Colt M4s, Galil Ace 22, Negative NG7.
What caliber are those Galils?
The Galil, both calibers. They've got 223, but they've also got 7.62 by 51 millimeter.
And I always get the weird question from Americans who are all about the AR. They're like, why are you fucking guys carrying around these fucking big ass battle rifles in an urban space? And I carried a G3 for a while, then a G36.
I tripped on that, man. I thought only the military, I thought only the Army was carrying G3, man. I was tripping on that for a long time.
Yeah, there was an article published around that in El Zeta. Lieutenant Colonel Lezaola, which was my version of your general.
Right.
When he took command, saw that all that we had were 9mm Colt AR-15s, Colt Sporters, the big ass fucking. We used to call them muletas. They look like a crutch, you know.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
And he saw the need, so we went to the. I have a few pictures of me at the military barracks at the armory, holding a fucking grenade launcher and a bunch of shit that they would lend us, basically.
Right.
They saw that we didn't have any weaponry, so when they saw that we were getting into firefights with people who were superiorly armed, there was an order given by the state governor, who was very close friends with Felipe Calderon, and they basically released a bunch of military grades.
That's a trip. Okay, so that does make sense, because I've been critical of that. Our falls, believe it or not, the fusil automático ligero that we carried to begin with actually came directly from the Onceava Zona Militar. They came from the Army. Yeah.
That was the service rifle before the G3.
Exactly.
When you go through, so to get full auto rifles authorized on your carry license,
right,
you would have to go to the Zona Militar and go through a training program. And the training program was with the FNFAL.
Yeah.
Because that's what they had to lend out to people.
I fucking love that weapon, man. In fact, my YouTube channel is named after that weapon.
Yeah. Be very careful with the gas selector on there.
Yeah.
Because if you fuck up with it, the magazine will explode downward and all your bullets will come out. I don't know if you ever saw that failure on the field every now and then. Some fucker would just fuck around with the gas release on it, a selector on it, and the magazines would fucking explode downwards. For people that have never experienced that rifle in an urban setting, shooting at somebody that's hiding behind something with 223 versus, an FAL or a G3 is
night and day. Night and day. They had the Charlie Kirk. They just had the Charlie Kirk shooting. And there's been a lot to do about that. And I'm just going to say that if we go to live in an apocalyptic world, to this day, I'm a 308, 7.62 by 51 millimeter guy. Yeah, I don't get to carry as much ammo, but whatever I'm hitting, I'm only hitting it once, and it's one and done. That's it.
Yeah.
So
I'm there. Battle rifles all the way. I think they should bring them back. You're running towards fire. You're running towards a firefight. You're kitted out. You have highly trained people with you. You've all been through the shit. You have leadership that you trust, which is not a common thing in Mexico, by the way. Like I just want to.
I did, yeah. You know what? That's a trip that you say that, because I did not get to experience like real corruption, and it pisses me off when I hear people say that Mexicans are corrupt. It pisses me the fuck off, because working in an environment like Mexico where some people are corrupt, a lot of people aren't. And my general never was. And so I see all the sacrifice and hard work and loyalty, fearlessness of Mexican people that go to work trying to make Mexico a better place. And then up here in the news, the entire world's like, oh, those guys are all corrupt. No, the fuck they're not. They are very committed to and good.
You don't hear about the good ones, is what I'm going to say. You only hear about the ones that fuck up.
Right.
You only hear about the ones that have active investigation. And again, trust is one of the most valuable currencies in that environment, specifically around where you were.
100%.
In the time and place. So, I mean, imagine going off to a firefight where you're not trusting the fuckers that are with you in that fucking firefight.
I've been in that position, man. I've been in that position, and it's sketchy. But I also have brothers that I know for a fact would be right there getting tortured right next to me. I have them. I don't want to name them right now. One of them's been on my channel and has done an interview with me, but I've got it private. I'm working on developing my channel. I'm super proud of what you've turned out, man. You've turned out like just a crazy good company. I want an Elvia knife, Ed. I want one. I will purchase it, but I want it autographed on the box, man.
I'll hook you up. I'll hook you up. I'll hook you up with one of the ones that I'm actually trying to learn how to fucking knife make right now.
Yeah.
Because why the fuck not? So yeah, I'll definitely hook you up. You're in it, and like what's the organization out there that is actively trying to, like, who are you going after for people that...
In my day and age, when I was there, Cartel de Jalisco de Nueva Generación was not the big hitter yet. And I just got off Johnny Mitchell podcast, and he's a lot more savio of the history of all that shit than I am. When I was there, the Plaza bosses and everybody active in the area were all Zetas at the time, and they were hardcore. And there was a small Gulf presence there. Cartel de Sinaloa was there. Los Talibanes were in their infancy. But the people that we were always going after were the Zetas.
Yeah, you're at the golden age of you're at the tail end, not tail end. You're at the fucking golden age of the Zetas. The Zetas are implementing fucking full-on guerrilla tactics.
Yeah, no, they will definitely fuck you up, man. So, for example, here's an example for the American viewers. I get off every 2 days. I work 43 hours, and so do all my brothers, and we get 5 hours off every 2 days. And so our base is in a really bad area. And so the taxis would come by to pick us up because a lot of people don't have even enough for a car, so we depend on taxis, especially when you're getting out of base that late at night. And a lot of the taxis have affiliations with the cartel or informants for them.
Yeah, fuck yeah, they're
fucking right. So when you're getting... So we'd leave base in Media Oruga, like we'd take off our work shirt, but I'd still have my pants on and my boots.
Media Oruga, I haven't heard that word in a while.
Yeah, Media Oruga. So yeah, like half a worm. Yeah.
Yeah, you have part of your operational uniform on, but you're trying to, like,
blend in.
T-shirt.
Right.
Yeah.
Black T-shirt, dark blue pants. Exactly. So I'm getting in the taxi, and in order to get from base to my house is exactly 7 minutes. And you time this shit because your wife, you call her before you're leaving, so they know that if it's longer than 7 minutes, they've done something to you. Exactly. So this is like the type of atmosphere that you live and work in, man. Even when you're off duty, you're a target. Yeah, you're hunting.
Are they letting you go home armed?
Yeah, you have your 9mm, but I mean, to be honest, if you're getting in a firefight with people that have their primary weapons, you're fucking done. A 9mm or handguns, if I'm armed with my primary, I'm not afraid of that at all. I'll take that deal all day, every day. Because you're going to win. You just engage them at distance and they're fucking done. But... yeah, you have your 9mm. You're not ever allowed to take your primary weapon with you, ever, ever, ever.
Somebody fucked up at some point in the past, and everybody pays it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It was that way. When I was there, you were never allowed to take your primary with you, but your secondary, your Glock. I like Package Cuatro, which is also a Beretta.
It's part of the Storm series.
Yeah, Package Storm. Package Cuatro Storm. I love that weapon. It's like half metal and half composite, but man, it's really got a great feel to it.
Looks like a pit bull fucking gun.
Yeah, I love it, man. It's not too big. It's great. I didn't like the safety or the finger safety on the Glock. That's not for me, man. I've had two of my partners shoot themselves in the foot with that thing, and I don't know if it was dumb luck jumping out of a truck or whatever. Because when we're deploying, we always patrol in trucks where we're at. And so you're jumping, you're engaging people flying out of a truck and stuff like that. I know two different people that have shot themselves with Glock 17s.
And also, like, just asking, because people will ask probably, what sheathing systems do you have? Because you get given a gun in a box, and here's your gun, and how are you going to carry it? Well, figure that fucking shit out.
We'd have level 2. We'd have level 2 holsters and stuff like that. But a lot of times, it's funny that you ask that. One time I was crossing into Tijuana, and I even just had some like BDU pants, like camouflage pants, in the Ejército there, because it was the color that they use up there. Because the color that the color of uniforms that the Mexican military uses, or the Mexican army uses up in Tijuana, is different than they use in like the earlier areas. So if they're like brown or tan, they snatch that shit from me, dude. They took it from me while I was crossing. Yeah, they're like, you can't have this. And I'm like, what are you gonna say? You got to give. So they, right, yeah, no, they told me that like this can be used for like nefarious purposes or whatever. You have to give it to us, and I'm like, all right, just take it. They let me wear the ones that I was wearing, but that was it. So how that relates to holsters and stuff like that, getting equipment sometimes of that type, a holster, a plate carrier, something like that. If you're not attached to my general, it's like you do the best you can, and they would have people that would come up with shit. A lot of them would go down to Mexico City and then drive up and sell it out of the back of their car right in front of base. Kind of like someone selling tamales out of their little...
Yeah.
It's exactly the same thing. So you come up with the best holster you can. But because my general was who he was, and because there was a big detachment of Federal Preventiva right there in the hotels where we worked, and because the Marina also had a mobile base there, and because we were always at the Onceava military base for the Ejército, we always did just our platoons that worked for my general. We would always come up with shit. Always. Because we had access to it. But a lot of people don't.
Yeah. It's you're, like, on our end, we would buy our equipment from some of the same fuckers that are probably selling the cartels. I mean, gun runners.
Totally, man.
All of us got, like, when we got our Glocks assigned, my second gun, I got a Beretta 92 FS pistol first, and then I got a Glock.
Right.
And I remember getting the Glock and no training on the Glock. I was like, fuck, what the fuck is this? And where's the safety? And I saw some dudes fucking spraying it with WD-40.
Huh.
And nobody knew what the fuck this thing was. And all of a sudden, like a weekend, everybody's walking around with these fucking retarded fucking 30-round magazines sticking out of their guns.
Yeah.
I'm like, where are you getting all these fucking things? Oh, there's a dude in the back selling it. Like, what?
Yeah, man.
And like, why isn't he getting into some shit selling fucking weaponry? How is he going to get into shit when he's selling to the people that would arrest him for the shit he's selling?
I don't know. I don't want to say it on video because, I mean, you got to be careful about what you say. But I'm just going to say that the Federal Preventiva was at the Howard Johnson's there in Zacatecas. They're posted up. And I'm just going to say that, in fact, there is a picture of it. I posted it somewhere. I'm sitting there with a Federal Preventiva tack vest. And I'm not going to say how I got it or whatever. I'm just going to say that I acquired one. And they were tripping out when I first was asking about it because I'm a gringo. And I'm like, you know what? You can go talk to my general. Here's my carta de comisión. I'm for real. And that's just kind of the way that things work there, you know.
Is that how you were moving? I mean, if you're a cop in Mexico, you have to have three things.
You have to have your gafete policiaca, your carta de portación, your carta de comisión, where I work.
So you have to have. It's also like they don't make it easy. I mean, they make him fucking printed out fucking piece of paper that's gonna like turn into toilet paper within a month. On our end, they would renew it every 3 months.
Yeah.
So if you fucked up in some way, they would be like, "Hey, you're off, and we're not gonna give you our new documentation."
Yeah.
That's you were basically writing that you basically have to have this fucking documentation with you.
Right there.
Yeah, there you go.
I got it with. In fact, it's all folded and jacked up because I'd carry this everywhere I'd go.
And if you don't have that shit, and you go through a military checkpoint,
they will fuck your shit up.
You're fucked.
Yeah, no, for real. In fact, we've done it. We've done it the other. We had ministerial agents coming down from either, I think it was Nuevo Leon or some shit, but they were coming in from out of state, and we ran into them at a checkpoint we were at. And they had their weapons with them and all their shit, and it was a thing, man. I remember that happening, because
and if you move in Mexico between state and you're a state agent, you have to have an oficio de comisión which details what states you're going to be traveling through.
Yeah.
Somebody basically calls ahead for you. That's how it should be done.
That is correct, but no. See, we were different because we didn't technically work for the state police. We worked for the Secretaría de Seguridad Pública. So mine says, el límite de su responsabilidad coincide con los límites territoriales del Estado, otros estados de la República y Distrito Federal. So our Carta de Comisión is different from the other ones people get because we're always in different states because we weren't technically state agents. We worked for the Secretaría de Seguridad Pública. And this is before they turned it in. They took the Secretaría de Seguridad Pública at a federal level and they turned it into CNG or CNG or something. I forget what it was before its current form of National Guard.
It started off being basically a military, a federalized police force.
Right.
You had the old school roadside police, which was a completely different thing, and then you had people dressed in gray uniforms, whether federales.
I remember that.
That's who I started off working with, and then you had this effort to professionalize this La Policía Federal, and then it turned into La Policía Federal Preventiva. And you had all these name changes and all this movement. And that's the thing with Mexico.
Every 6 years is some different shit.
It just changes skin.
Every sexennial.
Yeah. So, and it's hard to keep track of all this shit. You're working with this. So, like, tell us about what type of work are you doing with this unit? Like, what do you guys do?
So, like our intelligence unit. Because we did have an intelligence unit, and I've worked with them very little. I mean, they would do shit like pretend like they're obreros or like construction workers. They would hide their weapons behind tablas or planks in the back of the truck and go into these towns to try to find out. Because a lot of people don't get it, but like if you come rolling into like a small town in Mexico, like a little... Yeah, they see you from fucking 15 kilometers away. They fucking know. And even if they don't see you, someone that did see you will be calling ahead. And so they know when you're showing up. So we did have intelligence that did work. And we had strategic people that did that too. We were all operations. But our general, conjunto, or together with the general at the Onceava, the Army, and sometimes with the Marines and the Federal Preventiva, they would all get together and they would figure out who we were going to take down. And then once we got that figured out, we'd swoop in on them. Or we would also react to convoys that were en route. We would also act gunfights because a lot of times cartels will initiate enfrentamientos or gunfights amongst themselves and will respond to that shit.
So you're basically a quick reaction force.
Right.
And also...
Well, they've changed GAPE now. Now they call it Fuerza de Reacción Inmediata, or FRIZ.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we were. I was the third generation of GAPE, which is like, which I told you, Grupo Automóvil Táctica de la Policía Estatal. I was the third generation of that shit. After I left, they turned it into FRIZ, Fuerza de Reacción Inmediata, which is like your rapid response. It's like American SWAT, except you're working in cartel land.
It's direct action shit, basically.
Yeah, you're going to fuck people up. I mean, that's just, it's what it is, man. I don't like saying it that way.
It is your shock troops.
I want to make it clear, Ed, because I don't want, because a lot of times people, I'm very critical of people that just get into this shit to make money off of it and they don't ever have any bacon in it. They don't have any skin in the game. They don't have loved ones. I have loved ones in Mexico, and so do you. So when I'm talking about you're going to mess people up or whatever, I have a deep love and respect for the Mexican people, el pueblo mexicano, and I believe in service and serving the community 100%. So I'm not making any money off of any of this. And I'm grateful that you're giving me the opportunity to even talk about it because I think that it should be talked about and that people should know what goes on. Yeah. But when you are responding to something, you're responding to something to keep the community safe. And these people are getting in full-scale gun battles and you're going to put a cease to it. That's it.
it's not so for people that might not understand this, and I've gotten negativity sometimes when I talk about some of this type of shit, and you can't equate this to being a cop in the United States.
It is not the same.
Shooter situation.
It is not the same at all. Not even SWAT, because even SWAT, they might go and respond to something. They might have someone that's got hostages or whatever, worst case scenario, but it's still not the same. In Mexico, it is a war. It's a civil war fought amongst factions.
And for people that again, just put them in the right mindset, they're sending you guys to respond to a firefight where you might be getting shot at by people dressed in military uniform.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, you don't know what you're going to run into. You can run into people that are dressed up as Federal Preventiva, people that are dressed up in as de la Marina, el Ejército. They can be dressed up like Marines or Army. They can be dressed up like any of that, and
but
you don't know.
Closely, but you have sneakers on, like los soldados con tenis.
Yeah, you'll see something that'll give it away, and it's crazy, man.
I mean, the amount of decision making that has to happen on the ground from somebody like you who's basically showing up to something with, I mean, I don't know if you guys had air support. We had like 2 helicopters, but they would fucking show up later, you know?
Yeah, no, we had 1 helicopter, and even the military base there, there would be a helicopter there once every blue moon, but not usually. Air support was non-existent.
So, and again, do you like, again, to put people into perspective, because I don't think people have that perspective. They don't know what that would be like. Somebody gets shot in your group. Is there an ambulance nearby? Is there a general hospital to take him to?
We have an ambulance at base, but it would have to come all the way out. So yeah, you're there by yourself, man.
All of you guys are basically the first responders to your...
Every single one of us, yeah.
Are tourniquets there? Do people have medical training? Is it?
No. If I had to equate it, we do have a doctor that works for us. He's back at base. But I mean, when you're doing something like that, you're not going out with your ambulance and everything else hot on your heels. You're going out there by yourself to go respond to everything. And my general was from the cavalry. Yeah. So, I mean, he is mindful of logistics and getting people there and support. But just that type of support at the time wasn't existent, really. In fact, my general was bringing about a lot of changes. Before my general got there, they used to call them the Barbies, because they were dressed in gray. They would stand in Zacatecas, there's this thing called Portales, which is like this old, it's cantera, like Arcos de Cantera, like stone arches. Yeah, and they would stand there in their uniforms looking beautiful, and so they would call them Barbies, like los Barbies, like muñecas, like dolls.
Yeah.
And when my general got there, he's like, you can't fight a drug war this way. So he started getting weapons and trucks that were armored or blindadas and all this type of thing, and training us in everything.
And then you're like, I imagine you had the same kind of learning curve with the armored vehicles that you were getting given.
Yeah, we would have training on how to take down armored vehicles, because I mean you'll run into armored convoys and stuff like that, and you have to be able to stop them and win. And you're not always going to have grenades or whatever to do that, so you need to figure out how to take them down just with what you have.
End, what solutions did you come up with as a group for armored vehicles?
Armored vehicles, you want to immobilize them with their tires and get them off the road, run them off the road, and then hopefully.
So ramming.
Yeah.
Aiming at the tires. Run flats are not that common.
No, they don't have run flats. I've never seen run flats on anything.
So we would do a few things. We would put steel tow lines across roads. That would stop them pretty horribly. Paintball guns or paintball balloons.
That's a good solution.
And having the army guys there with fucking
Yeah.
With a support gun on top of a truck.
Yeah, no.
Usually take care of that.
Yeah, we weren't allowed to have like 50 cals or anything. That was only the Army was allowed to have that. In fact, they even were pissed off. We had negative NG7 belt-fed machine guns, 7.62 by 51 millimeter with a 100-round box. And they didn't even really like us having those, but we were allowed to have that. They were armed with Mini-Me, 7.62 by 51 millimeter Mini-Me Belgian belt-fed machine gun. And then they had their 50 cals up on top of the trucks.
And what was some of the wildest weaponry you saw on some of the people that you were fighting against? Like, what were they carrying? What surprised you that they were?
They'd have all kinds of shit, man. They would have everything from Madus up in the back. I mean, everything that you can think of a military having. Bades, like 50 cal sniper rifles. They would have that type of shit, so they're trying to take out your vehicles at distance. So, I mean, yeah, I've got a picture somewhere where they tried to take out the driver one night, and we had a armored truck, and yeah, they shot the crystal on the driver's door trying. If it wasn't ballistic glass, he'd be dead.
Yeah, it fucking went all white, I imagine, with the fucking.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, I got a picture of it. I'll send it to you. Yeah, it's kind of a trip.
While you're going through this process, I imagine you're losing people as you're going through.
Yeah, there's a plaque up at base with the people and when we have Dia de Muertos too, they'll put all their pictures up on the wall, man. And it's fucking sad, dude. It's heartbreaking, man.
What's again for people that don't know what it's like? I mean, people have images of the U.S. where a cop dies, and you'll see all these. I don't know. You'll see people lining in roads and a bunch of American flags and stuff like that. That's
not in Mexico.
Walk us through what the death of a fellow officer is like in Mexico.
There's a small funeral. His family, co-workers, and that's it. There's not like a big public celebration of it because in Mexico, a lot of us are viewed with mistrust, and some of that mistrust is warranted.
Yeah.
The first time I saw Estatales in Mexico, which is ironic because I would later become one of them or become one of their brothers, we were coming out of a bar, and they told us don't even look at them, and they're all atapados. They all got their pasamontanes, their balaclavas on, and they told me they're like don't even look at them because they're really bad news. And to be honest, yeah, kinda. You're confronting cartels that will kill you. So I get it, but also at the same time, you're there to protect the citizenry. But the problem is you don't know who's working for the cartel and who's not. So you're always on guard, man. But when you do die, or when you're killed, no one's going to celebrate it. It's only going to be the family member. You're going to get your bandera mexicana, your Mexican flag. And your family members are going to go on without you, and your coworkers are going to go back to work with fond memory.
Life insurance, support for the families after the widows, the kids.
Right. No, a lot of that's non-existent. In fact, when I went through it, I had to write down, they sent us up to the psych unit behind base. There's a psych building there. And they have, it's kind of like pruebas de control de confianza. It's kind of like that, but it's before you even get to that. So you go up there and you're doing all your psych paperwork, you're filling stuff out. Who gets your check? So I'm writing like my form for my wife getting my check if something happens to me. Who gets all my shit, like my equipment?
Yeah, but that's.
Yeah, but I mean, as far as like when you die or something like that, if you die in the line of duty or something like that, no one's going to celebrate you or anything, man. You might get a spot in the paper. That's it.
It is a very quiet goodbye.
Yeah,
is what I kind of like describe it, and it the amount of like the support network for people in that realm and their families once they're
no one gives a fuck about you, dude.
Yeah,
at all.
Which is another aspect of like how how thankless the job is, and what makes some people very angry and disappointed at the experience of going through something like that. How we paid for we paid for an eye operation We paid for a few laptops. We brought Christmas over to some of these kids that were left behind because their dad wasn't married to their mom when he got shot in the face. So.
I do. It's a trip that you say that, because I do remember when I got there, my general was very committed to the well-being of the agents there. And I remember one time, because he would have these like speeches sometimes, and we would all gather up on like the Esplanade or whatever. We'd gather up to listen to him, and he was giving out glasses one time. I remember that. I'm thinking, whoa, he's giving people glasses. And my brothers and sisters there that were at the state, they were like super thankful that this guy took the time to give them glasses. And me being a gringo, man, I'm thinking glasses, you can get a pair of glasses at Rite Aid for fucking $2. What the fuck? But in Mexico, it was a big deal. He was buying them glasses and stuff like that. But usually, on like a level when you're dying or something like that, a lot of people in Mexico, they don't give a fuck about you, and you are completely alone. You're isolated. Even many years later, Ed, my family doesn't even tell me, hey, good job, Bern, for doing this or whatever. They don't tell me anything. The only thing, I have more cercanía. I'm trying to figure out how to say it in English. I'm closer with my brothers from my platoon than I am with my own brothers and sisters in this fucking country, because for 10 years I'm in Mexico, and the only fucking people I had that cared about me at all were my wife, my brothers from my platoon, some of my compañeros from school, from law school, that were also government workers, and that's it. And other than that, not a lot of people care about you, man.
For people that, again, like, we're trying to educate people on the realities of it. What are you earning? Like, what does a guy like you working that job in such a dangerous time of like, that was, I mean, this is prime Zeta era. You're doing probably one of the most, mathematically, probably one of the most dangerous jobs on the planet at that point.
I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you exactly what I was earning. 5,722 pesos a la quincena.
Let's make the conversion for people into dollars for them that I don't know.
It isn't even $300, man. I got a whole bunch of them here. I got.
So it's $300 on la quincena, which is every 15
days.
Are you getting a bonus at the end of the month? Are you getting
my brothers and sisters aren't? I am. Our pelotons, because we were always at base, we got viático, so we were getting like an extra 8,000 pesos a month, which is like per diem.
Yeah, because you're basically living.
We live at base, man. My wife almost left me because I was never home, man. And you know how Catholic chicks are; they don't believe in divorce or any of that shit, man.
No.
And my wife still almost left me because I was never home. And everyone in my platoon, one of my close brothers got divorced because he was never home, and she left him and went to another Estatal that did get to come home. So our group, because we were Gape, we were never home, man. And so we would get 8,000 pesos a month, which in Mexico it's kind of a lot. But
depending on where you are, the price of living, could adjust. But it's still, man.
It's not worth everything you're getting, because you're at work 43 hours straight, 5 hours off, 365 days a year. So it's 17 hours of franquicia or free time a week. The regular military got more time off, got more leave than we did.
And for anybody asking, is there overtime in Mexico?
Fuck no. In fact, a lot of the people that want to verify my story, I sued my general for overtime, dude. I did, and I got it. You can look it up. It's online. They had to pay me like 80,000 pesos because they weren't giving me fucking overtime. And I'm like, whoa. Yeah, overtime's non-existent. And in my case, I had to sue my general because they had me working all that shit, because I come from an American perspective. I'm like, whoa. But most Mexicans, no, you're not getting overtime for any of that shit.
I remember learning about it in the U.S., like, overtime?
Yeah. And not only that, but a lot of like factories in Mexico, it's not even a 40-hour work week. You're working 48-hour work weeks. You're doing whatever you want. You know, since we're educating people, because a lot of people talk shit to Mexican immigrants that come here. And I didn't realize this until my general retired and I was going to law school and I tried to find a job as a Mexican. You might look 3 or 4 years for a job before you find anything to do. And during that time, your stomach's still hungry and your family's still hungry. So when people do come to this country looking for work, trying to survive, I'm not at all mad at them because they're doing whatever they need to do to survive. And a lot of Americans will be like, oh, they need to do it correctly. The law of survival trumps your law of whatever you want that makes you comfortable from a humanitarian and a Christian level, man. And I don't think that we ought to throw out the entire rule of law just because, but I think that there are programs like guest worker programs or finding a way to where people could respect the sovereignty of both countries, but still allowing people to find work and eat. And just to write people off, just as though they're a fucking immigrant or whatever, I'm not with that shit at all, dude.
I mean, we're living in a day and age where you have ICE raids in the U.S., and then you have protesters in Mexico saying, go home, gringos, in Mexico City.
Right.
Because they're making shit unaffordable.
100%.
So we're so intertwined as a country. You are working in, like, again, I had a conversation with somebody from MetLife. That's who handled our, like, we had life insurance and we had MetLife coverage.
Right.
And I remember having a conversation with him. He was like, you guys in Mexico doing this job have, like, on paper at that time, one of the most dangerous jobs on the planet.
I didn't plan on walking away from it, Ed.
Were you, which is what I kind of wanted to walk towards. You have, I mean, at some point I lost myself when I was doing that job. I had the best intentions in the world. I was part of a good group of people, and I had great leadership, and they started dissolving around me, you know, because,
right.
like we talked about a little bit before, every 6 years, you know,
yeah,
amnesia happens.
Well, see,
everything goes out.
Your experience was different than mine because you were in it about twice as long as I was. So I didn't get to experience a change of sexennial. The only general I knew, well, I mean, I know several generals, but the only general I worked for, I was only active during one sexennial. And in my experience, that was actually better. One of my friends, Bucalo, from my platoon, thought that I was just there to kill Mexicans. He straight up, no, he told me that shit. And we're good friends now. But I mean, like when I told you, when I got there, I was viewed with great suspicion.
Yeah.
And he told me one time, because I was like super like, hey, let's go get the bad guys. Hay que combatir la delincuencia organizada. I was a hard charger. But he told me, he's like, you know what? When our general goes, we'll still be here. They won't.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of wisdom in that, but I didn't really get the full measure of what he was telling me because I left when my general left too.
So, you know, things you're doing the work. You're like putting in the work. You're not falling into the trap of corruption. You have good leadership, but you know, all good things come to an end. Your general's exiting this responsibility that he had.
Right.
Is he warning you? Is he warning you guys? He's like, hey guys, we're about to end this.
No.
You guys, like, what's going on with your guys, with your group as things are concluding? Like, it
was kind of a trip because a new governor was coming in. This is right at the tail end of Miguel Alonso Reyes. Governor Teo is being elected. They're doing the transformation ceremony where Governor Alonso Reyes is giving power to Governor Teo. Governor Alonso Reyes he was kind of a trip. He's a senator right now in Mexico. And he's a lawyer. And Governor Teo was an accountant, I think, so their personality's a little different. And the guy that was coming in to become...
Same party? Same party?
Same party. They were both priistas. But now that's changed. Now Monreal is the governor, and now it's gone totally the way of Morena.
Yeah. and that's why it's fucking.
It's changed a lot, man, and which is kind of a trip too, because during the elections, David Monreal was still the mayor of Fresnillo, and they were trying to change. Man, I can get in a lot of trouble even saying this, but
Don't say it then.
no, I'm gonna fucking say it. We had all the municipal police contained at their fucking municipal base in Fresnillo because people were afraid of the municipal police going out committing violence and intimidation towards the voters in order to elect David Monreal. And David Monreal, this is why I'm going to fucking say it. I don't give a shit what price I have to pay in the future because of it. This guy had the balls to come over with his security detail and start taking picture of our faces and shit. And his brother, Ricardo Monreal, right now is a senator in the Mexican Congress at a federal level. He wrote Escuadrones de Muerte o de la Muerte.
Yep.
He had all of this fucking insider information. You know what? When I put on that fucking uniform, I made an agreement to fucking die if that was going to be the price, because I didn't want kids having drugs. And I'm pro-legalization of drugs because I think it would take a lot of the profit out of it. There's a lot of debate on that. That's my personal position on it. But as far as giving drugs to kids, I'm fucking totally against it. And that's what cartels do. A lot of that shit winds up in children's hands. It happened to me. And these guys are going to have the balls to come over and take pictures of our faces in broad daylight while we're trying to allow the Mexican population to vote, escoger, for their own self, choose who they want as a politician. And they're trying to intimidate us. And it was the 97th Battalion in northern Zacatecas and us. And they're taking pictures of all of our faces. I'll never forget that. I was really taken aback by that because they are flat out trying to intimidate the people that are in charge of enforcing the law and in charge of protecting the Mexican Constitution. And that goes on in Mexico too.
It is. I mean, I went through the whole cycle of it, and it doesn't matter how well of a job you do.
No, it doesn't.
Matter. Like the job that we did in my area is a thing that is studied to this day in universities as far as success. But as soon as it ended politically, for the governance that was above us, all of us were put under investigation for human rights violation, and you still to this day hear the president of Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum, saying we don't want to go back to a war against cartels because that's not the solution.
They had that with my general too. They were investigating him for human rights violations, and because I've listened to you for a long time, man, and I've listened to myself, and I've also listened to Gafe 423, and I'm so grateful to have this opportunity to talk to you because you're my brother, Ed, and Gafe's our brother. And when you're alone in the middle of the night in the Mexican desert or in the Mexican jungle with members of the cartel, it's a big boy game. It's all men there, and we all know what goes on, and we can't ever talk about it. They're talking about when you die, how lonely it is. It's completely lonely not to have anybody else to talk about it because of the gravity of fucking everything that goes on. You're left alone with that for the rest of your fucking life, man. And it's painful. People tell me I got PTSD. I don't think I do, but there is a lot of shit that you're going to see. And my very first night on patrol, they found out immediately where the fuck I was at with everything, man. Right off the bat, we caught a Sicario, and it's an unnerving experience.
When you say a Sicario,
we found a hitman. I didn't even know we caught him, man. We were out in 3 fucking units. Yeah, go ahead.
For people that don't know or never encountered a dude like that, some people are imagining a guy with an AK with a fucking hat or pointy boots and a weird belt or something like that. Professional murderous people that have dozens of bodies in their background that will shoot you in the head if you blink.
Not just you, your whole fucking family, man. I mean, it's no rules.
No rules. And you were facing the Zetas, and they had a whole pipeline of their own developing some of these guys that is very much in line with how you would prepare like a guerrilla force or a paramilitary. So these guys are trained as well.
Right.
Who is this guy? Like, what are you seeing when you said that you didn't know he was who he was?
I didn't know.
Walk us through that revelation.
There's only so much I can talk about that. They told me to not talk. They told me to because he would hear my voice. And I thought we were going back to base to go to sleep, and I didn't even know we had them because we operate in trucks. So other places in the country, they operate in cars, but where I'm at, it's all trucks. We do have cars, but when you're out on patrol, you're in a truck. Ford F-250, Dodge, Ram, all this shit. And you got the bars up in the back of it, but when you put people in the back of the truck, you don't even know someone's in there because they're laying down, handcuffed and this type of stuff. And it's our job to transport them to the Ministerial, or the investigative police for the people that don't know. But we get back to base, and we were reporting in, but they told me not to talk because this guy would hear my voice. And I'm like, whoa, what the fuck do you mean? And they're talking to this guy, and they're interrogating him. And it just came to me that if there are people that work for the cartel, and if there are people that are corrupt, that they already fucking know I'm there anyway. So it doesn't matter whether they talk and he knows who I am or he hears my voice or anything anyways. And the guy was a legit hitman. He had all of his weapons and everything. And we did turn him in accordance with law. But
what did he have? Like, what weapon was he carrying? Like,
no, he had an Arequince, a Bushmaster.
Yeah, a short barrel.
Yeah, which was kind of crazy that he would have that because in Mexico it's totally illegal to have that weapon.
Yeah,
and
so he was somebody then.
Yeah, no, definitely, without a doubt. In Mexico, a lot of people don't know, but the way that the Mexican gun laws work, there are basically two gun stores in the entire country, and both are directly from the Mexican army. And you're allowed to have up to, I think it's a 260 caliber or whatever. I was reading it one time. It's a hunting rifle.
Yeah, there's a bunch of weird calibers you can have. A 12 gauge, but also like if it's a modified bullet, if it's like impact bullet, expansive, that's military only. 380 for a pistol round is usually what people go for in civilian side, but it's not easy. You have to be well off, middle class, upper middle class to be able to fly to Mexico City, go through all the paperwork, be
right,
a shooting club to be able to practice with your gun.
100%, man.
So that's why most Mexicans that have guns, they're fucking illegal guns. You know?
Yeah, no, it was totally the case. But it was always strange to me just the amount of danger that you're in because these people are everywhere, man, and you wouldn't even know it. And it was crazy, and I just knew, seeing that guy there, that we had both taken a lot of steps in our lives to put ourselves in the positions that we were in, and what his response to me would be if it were him that had caught me and I was with him and all of his buddies, just how different that thing would turn out.
You would be. I mean, there are worse things than death, and you and me know this.
Yeah, I always carried around in my tack vest to take my own head off if I had ever gotten caught.
Yeah, because that's the Zetas were the ones that basically invented the whole torture fucking execution video.
Yeah, no, they were yeah, it was you know, when I got to Mexico, I was afraid to get shot in the head or have my head cut off. And then after you see enough severed heads and stuff like that, you figure it out. It'll take about 60 to 90 seconds for them to hack your head off. And then I kind of lost my fear of it after a while. Not saying that I would like it to happen, but you do put it into perspective. Because you're going to see a lot of shit when you're working there, man.
What's it like? And like, for me, it was a trip. But like, what was it like for you when all of a sudden, you know, it ends? And
I went through a year of deep depression, man. Deep depression.
What's the feeling like when all of a sudden you're essential? you're with people that you would kill and die for.
I felt like I lost my family, man. I mean, really, because one minute you're in it and you're doing it and everything's 100% high speed. And Sean Ryan talks about it. He talks about being addicted to adrenaline. You and I are both sober, and I've been sober for quite a while, but I've been getting high on adrenaline for a lot of my life in different ways. Working in the Bering Sea, being in Russia, being in Mexico. It was the best and the worst job that I ever had in my entire life. And one minute you're completely in it and you're going out to chase down someone that'll take your head off. And the next minute you are going to law school, doing agrarian law, helping campesinos, and it's a lot different. And man, I hate to tell you this, my phone's gonna die, the battery's gonna die, man.
We're almost at the end of this, so I think to close out, and I think we're probably gonna have a few more conversations after this.
I would like that, man.
But where do you go with your experience? What do you do with an experience like that?
I was lucky. I had this really hardcore, socialist campesino law professor who I cared deeply about, and she gave me a job at her office doing agrarian law. She was one of my professors in law school, and they were paying me $35 a week to help campesinos. And sometimes we would get paid in costales of Chile and cajeta because they didn't have very much money, but they were very honorable, noble people. And even though I'm pretty conservative, I'm a libertarian, really, but I lean conservative. The goodness and kindness of those people is something that I will never forget, and I'm in contact with them all to this day. It was different transitioning from high adrenaline, high speed atmosphere, and you've gone into security and whatnot. I've gone into the law. In fact, school just started again for me today. I'm trying to transition into a lawyer here in the United States so I can help people, because I do believe in service. And when you show up in a uniform and you tell the Republic of Mexico, hey, I will give you my life and protect you, it should be an honorable thing. And usually it is. There are some people that tarnish that with corruption. Some people are forced in corruption, but mostly it comes from a giving place, and I want to give back to the people. That's what I'm working on right now. I've still got a few years ahead of me of work in that area, but that's where I'm going with my life right now.
God's work, brother. I can see it in you.
Yeah, man.
The drive in you is very clear. It's inspiring, actually.
Well, you too, man. I fucking applaud you, Ed. I've been critical of you in the past because I didn't get to know you, and I'm getting to know you more. I've spent a lot of the time. I have your timeline down on a whiteboard in my basement right now, studying your whole trajectory. And when I watch you come to this country and what you've done with training people and elevating the ability of people to protect themselves and stuff like that, I fucking applaud everything that you've done. You've built a fucking major crazy business out of this shit with your knives and everything else. And the fact that you had the balls to suit up and show up and put on the same uniform I did, a lot of people in the United States don't get what that is, because in the United States there is an inherent belief that your brother is going to be on your same side, but in Mexico you don't fucking know, man, and you still show up anyways. And then you have to deal with all of that and internalize it alone, go to work alone. You don't know what's going to happen on any given day. And like when I was leaving, as I was telling you, there was a Colombian guy there, John Casara, that was a hitman for the Zeta cartel. That was kind of how I closed out my career. All that shit was going on too, so it was time to leave.
We achieve a moment in that job where we realize that whatever the story, or whatever part in that story we had, is over. And my world has ended a few times, and I'm all about recognizing apocalyptic survivors like yourself.
Well, you too, man.
Brother, it was a fascinating conversation. I think we're going to have a few more of these in the future. Where can people find out more about you, the work you're doing, and where can people basically support you?
Well, just on my YouTube channel, Dave Franke. I'm still just putting this thing together. The main thing that I want is, I know that you and Gafe and myself have worked there. I would like to see the three of us do a lot more in bringing Mexican sources to the American public. And by Mexican sources, I mean Mexican reporters that speak Spanish. And I would like all three of us to bridge the gap between Mexico and the United States, because both of us, all three of us, care deeply about both countries and have a lot invested in both countries. And I would like to see that happen a lot more than it has been. And so I'm grateful for this opportunity, man.
Let's figure out a way to get all in a weird room somewhere and talk about some of the things that could be done from the perspective of experience and from boots on the ground, which is, I think, the conversation that is being had out there is being done by people that have never been there, never done that.
I'm 100% in agreement with you on that one, man. 1,000% in agreement. And I think that people should have experience with it when they're going to talk about it.
Brother, great conversation. I will. We're going to link everything in this conversation at the bottom, and it's been an honor and a pleasure, brother.
I appreciate that, man. Hey, I'm going to send Eddie some pictures and stuff like that, and I look forward to having this conversation again, Ed.
Brother.
Hey.
I'm excited for it.
También, hey, que Dios te bendiga, y también, oye, muchos saludos a su sobranía y su tiempo con su hija, y que Dios te bendiga, hermano.
Que Dios te bendiga a ti también, hermano. Buenas noches.
Igualmente, nos vemos.